Okay, IED. Now that we know a little bit about what the tolerances and the tolerance types are, we can spend a little bit of time interpreting the tolerances. And this is the first part in 2.2.1, or sorry, 2.1.1, where we actually have to do something in terms of looking at the tolerance types. So it says, investigate the parts shown on the engineering drawings in figures 1 and 2. And this is looks like it says it's a conduit bracket. So this is if you had like a piece of conduit for like cabling or something, you could like nail this to the wall or something. And it looks like it's got some tolerance values on it. And we're going to spend careful attention and we're going to look at the numbers that go along with it. So I'm going to look at, and we're going to write these down in our engineering notebook. We're going to do part A, part B, part C, part D, and E, and then there's a couple more down on the next page too. So if I look at part A has a hole that's being drilled in part of the conduit bracket, and it says that it's a diameter of 0.138 plus or minus 0.001 through. So if I'm looking at the plus or minus right here, I have to ask myself, what kind of tolerance is this? And also, what is the upper limit and the lower limit that goes with this as well too? Well, let's see here. The type of tolerance that it's going to be plus and minus. It goes both directions. So that's going to be a bilateral tolerance. So that means that we could have an upper limit that goes up by 0.001 and a lower limit that goes down by 0.001. So the upper diameter limit is going to be 0.139 and the lower diameter limit is going to be 0.137. You just add and subtract one, and those are your tolerable limits that you have for that hole. The next part is this symbol right here. If we remember back from Unit 1, that symbol stands for something. That is a counterbore. And the counterbore has a diameter of 0.250 plus or minus 0.001. Once again, whenever I look at this one, I see plus or minus 0.001, so that one is a bilateral tolerance, and it can go up and down. So that means I can add 0.001 to this, and I can subtract 0.001 to this. Same thing happens for the whole depth of the counterbore. The counterbore goes down 0.163 inches, and that's plus or minus 1 thou. So we can go up a thou and down a thou. Let's look at part C. Part C, oh, wait, where's the plus or minus? There's no plus or minus here. Okay, so I got to think about this. If there's no plus or minus that's involved here, that means that it's not bilateral and it's not unilateral. So that means that we're going to have a limit tolerance. So this 4.25 and this 4.24 is our upper and lower limits that we have, and this is just a limit tolerance. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, and part D, let's take a look at that one. I see R.875 plus or minus 0.002. So R stands for Ralph. No, I'm kidding. It's radius. It's the radius value, and that radius is 0.875, but it actually allows a little bit of tolerance, a little bit of wiggle spot in between there. That's plus or minus 0.002. So that means that we could go up 2 thou or we could also go down 2 thou, and that would be a bilateral tolerance from this one. Let's see here. In part E, let's okay, wait a minute here. Oh no. All right, so there is a plus and a minus, but one of the pluses is 0.000. So that means that we really don't want this thing to be any bigger than 2.25 inches. And if we go minus, that's going to subtract that value out as well too. So this isn't bilateral, this is a unilateral tolerance, and that means that our upper limit is just going to be the actual value of the thickness of the conduit bracket itself, 2.25, and the minimum value is going to be 2.25 minus this 10 thou. So I think that's all of them that we have here, A, B, C, D, and E. Let's take a look on the next one. What do we got here? This is an axle stabilizer. I think this is going to end up being for a selfie stick, if I remember correctly. So we'll use this selfie stick. I think we're going to assemble that later. Anyway, here's just one part of it. We've got F, G, and H to deal with. All right, I'm going to look at F. Take a look at that. That symbol, it's back again to haunt us. That symbol is, Well, it's not r, so it's not a radius. It's got to be the other one. It's a thing that goes through it. Oh, it's a diameter. So we got a diameter of zero point 0.5 plus or minus. The plus side is 0.02, the minus side is 0. So if the minus side is 0, that's not bilateral, so that means it has to be the unicorn style. It is a unilateral. So this is going to be a unilateral tolerance because there is a plus 2, or sorry, there's a plus 20 thou, and there is a minus 0. So that means that the lowest distance, the lowest amount of thickness that you can have here is 0.50 inches, and if you go anything below that, something bad is going to happen. Chances are that if you make it smaller, that it's not going to move back and forth because it's just too tight. The hole is too small. But you can have it a little bit bigger and it'll be okay. That's what it looks like. Let's look at what comes after F. Oh, G. Let's go to G. I see. Once again, there's no plus or minus, so it's 0.27 and then 0.24 on the bottom. So if we've got that, that's going to be not unilateral and not bilateral, but that's going to be a limit tolerance. And the limits are 0.27 and 0.24, which means we've got about a 30 thou tolerance limit here. We can go up or down 30 thou between 0.27 and 0.24. On the next one, for H, this one is 2.25 inches plus or minus zero point 0.02. So let's see here. I see plus or minus, so that's going to be both directions. So that is a bilateral tolerance. And it looks like if we're adding and subtracting zero point 0.02, then that means that we're adding and subtracting 20 thou. So you can actually add or subtract 20 thou. The total distance between up 20 thou and down 20 thou would be a total distance of 40 thou. So you can have a tolerable limit here of about 40 thousandths of an inch, which doesn't seem like a lot, but whenever you're dealing with trying to fit things together, it can make all the difference in the world. So next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start talking about like how parts can be interchanged with each other and the different types of fits that can go with it. We'll talk about it on the next one. So you guys have a great day and we'll talk later.